Oh no, not again. Too soon, too soon. It is the Mattydaddy Wednesday Night Delight. All gas, no brakes. Y'all ready to play the game? We're hitting it hard. We're hitting it fast like we always do. Tonight it's bounce back players. It's a little bit of this or that. We're not playing Jeopardy, but I got the guys that do it day in and day out and are just a blessing in disguise for the industry. I'm talking about the front yard fantasy guys. I'm talking FanDuel's own, the bad boys of the week, and soon to be the kings of the community. Simon, what's up?
What's up, Maddie? Well, thanks for having us on, man. I almost said welcome. It's your show.
Yes.
I'm hyped to be here, man. It's been a long time coming. You were one of our
welcome me, welcome ever. You.
You were one of our first guests ever, man. It's awesome to be back over here on your show now. I'm excited.
Swagger don't stop. I tell you what I'm doing, though. When I watch your show, I'm also on Facebook. I'm scrolling. I see a guy power walking around the park, and he's saying, let me tell you about Joe Mixon. Let me tell you about how dangerous this man is. Mr. Josh, welcome, my man. You're setting it up day in and day out.
Let's go. I'm hyped because of that intro, Maddie. I'm like, man, I'm in the mood to talk football.
I was over here rocking out to that music.
Me too, dude, I love y'all. I love your. We're hype.
Dude, great vibes.
When I started this process, great vibes, and there was a guy who touched base with me. He said, Mattydaddy, let me come to you. Let me tell you what's up and how we do it here. Dude told me a lot. I said, what is StreamYard? What is this? Is this something off a Blockbuster? And he goes, no, Mattydaddy. JL's finest. I'll show you the way. JL's back in business, baby. Back in the saddle.
Man, Simon and Josh came in so hot, and I'm sitting here thinking, like,
internet is
how do I come in as hot as
you
doing?
Someone's streaming something high def.
You're a stud. You're Rico Suave.
Woo, woo.
Cool as the other side of the pillow, dude.
Woo, woo, woo.
Yes.
Hey,
dude, pumped to have you guys.
Pumped to be
here. What's up, dude? You guys are going to see yourselves early in the morning. It's time to grind. Y'all ready to talk football first? Then we'll have some fun.
Always.
Let's get straight to business.
Do it.
Let's talk about that COVID test. Let's talk bounce backs. Am I on a delay or am I just rambling?
I think you're on a little bit of a delay.
Slight delay.
I'm always on a delay. I need that premium package, damn it.
Upgrade that Cox internet.
Lamar. Mom, get off. Yeah, dude, we're gonna have fun. Don't get off. Mom, it's not here, but
get off and get off, Mom.
Let's talk that one.
JL, let's talk Lamar Jackson. This is a guy who is pretty damn good. 1,000 yards, but his touchdown regressed last year. Do you see those going up? And is this guy still at the top of the mountain?
Yeah, I definitely see. We knew that his touchdown rate was bound to fall, but I think that Lamar is going to have a great year. I hope that they increase that passing game, focus a little bit on the passing game. You know, they got Bateman, they got Tylan Wallace, they got Sammy Watkins, the hero,
our boy,
the hero of Baltimore, Sammy Watkins. So I'm hoping they focus on passing. I mean, Lamar, Josh and I were just talking about it this morning. Lamar's in there early. He's got the right attitude. He's humble. He's just I think that when you have sort of one aspect of your game that you need to focus on, it's a lot easier to improve that aspect than, say, having more than one aspect. So I'm hyped for Lamar this year.
I like it.
I couldn't agree more, JL.
Let's keep it going. Simon, what's your flavor here?
I mean, JL hit the nail on the head. I think, one, Lamar's a lock for 1,000 rushing yards. Like, it's going to happen. That's what he does. If he plays, especially now with 17 games, he's going to get to 1,000 rushing yards, and that's about as safe as the floor as you can get. And he's one of the few guys with the upside that he's shown us to be the number one overall QB by a large margin. And all of the moves the Ravens made this offseason say that they do want to dedicate more to that passing game. Like JL said, they drafted Rashad Bateman high. They went out and got Sammy Watkins. Like, they're not only saying that they want to add that element to their offense, they're walking the walk as well. Follow the money. I believe them. I'm a lot higher on Lamar this year than I was last year. I was probably a bit too low on him, but I'm fully ready for that bounce back. If, and this is a big if, he had that positive COVID test today. We saw what happened with Cam Newton back from COVID last year. He was never quite the same player he was. It can continue to have effects on you throughout the season. Hopefully that's not the case here. Maybe it's not I know he missed a week last year for something similar. It could just be a positive test. Nothing comes of it. But if he does have COVID, it's time to maybe pump the brakes a little bit. Because even if he comes back, he could have lingering issues from it that could bother him, especially for a rushing quarterback like he is.
Yeah, I don't know if he's vaccinated, but I would imagine that would affect it too, because that would mean that if he is vaccinated, then he most likely won't have as intensive effects, side effects of COVID. So I doubt they're going to release any sort of that information.
Yeah,
but
I can. Josh, is he going to go over 30 touchdowns this year?
Is he going to go over 30 touchdowns? Yeah, he's going to go over 30 touchdowns. Lamar Jackson's going to have a fantastic season.
Touchdowns, excuse me.
I'm saying he's going over 30 passing touchdowns. Listen, JL and Simon, it's like we see each other and talk to each other about football every day or something. It's really strange. I don't know what's going on here, but they summed it up perfectly. I do think Lamar Jackson's going to have over 30 passing touchdowns. I just think his rushing ability, he's clearly going to have over 1,000 rushing yards, but I think that's going to open up the passing game so much for him. You're talking about Marquise Brown. He's a sleeper right now. I think he's going to have a hell of a season. You throw in Rashad Bateman and Tylan Wallace and Sammy Watkins, like these guys already said. Listen, guys, I know the COVID concerns, but right now, at this point in the season, maybe this is the right time to get it. I don't know. I know there's lingering issues with Cam Newton and everything, but I think the chemistry is just growing in that offense. I think his mind's right going into the season. I'm excited, guys. I'm excited. I'm a little biased. I got to say it. I'm a Ravens fan, but I'm really excited for Lamar Jackson.
I'm a Browns fan, so I'm about as unbiased as it gets towards Lamar, unless it's in the negative way. And I'm very hyped for him this year as well. I just brought up the COVID thing as a something to watch, something to be
it's a good
cognizant
of.
It's
got to be mentioned.
You got to mention it.
Especially since his game is so dependent on
running.
Top five.
As
of right now, I would feel safe saying top 5. If he plays 17 games, I put Lamar Jackson cleanly in the top 5 quarterbacks.
Hey, he wasn't that far off of 30 this past season.
Okay.
26, right?
26, yeah.
And what do you have the year before that? You have that up by any chance?
36.
Closer to 4. Yeah.
36, yeah.
36.
He was on point. Interceptions went up, touchdowns went down. Just questions and concerns. You guys are on point and in the zone, dude. Let's keep it going. Dak is back. Shoulder injury, ankle injury. Pow, pow, pow. Let's go, man. How are we feeling about Dak Prescott? No, not too fast. Oh, man. This is a pass. This is a Malarkey or McCarthy offense that passes the ball. We saw what Dak did. What? Mark Malarkey, Bob Sirkowski. Dude, Dak Prescott. Are you guys worried at all about the injuries? About maybe them just kind of easing him into the thing where he might end up being a back-end QB1, early QB2 instead of the stud we're expecting, especially after last year, how it started?
I wasn't before today, but now I am. Now that this shoulder injury stuff's coming out, that he might miss a couple weeks, that's certainly worrisome.
Yeah, I completely agree with JL. I didn't have a worry in the world. I was so excited for Dak in this Cowboys offense until I saw that little sleeper alert today. Let me know he had a strained shoulder. That could be signs that he wasn't fully ready. If he's playing, though, I'm putting him in my lineup and expecting a minimum top 10 guy, even if he's slightly injured. And it's one, I believe in Dak as a talent, but two, you put any quarterback in that offense, and I'm probably ranking them as a QB1. Like Andy Dalton starting for the full year is likely a QB1 in that offense if he was still there. With Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Blake Jarwin coming back, Dalton Schultz, and then Michael Gallup. I know he had a little bit of a scare today. And then the defense that I know should be a little bit improved, but is likely still to be a bit of a mess. They're going to have to throw the ball a ton. Hopefully Dak's there to be the one slinging it. If he is, I have a hard time getting him out of the top 3. But
timeout. That is Simon a Dallas Cowboys beat reporter? Came on hard.
It would be news to me.
That was good, dude.
I did have a third grade. I had a Letterman jacket with the Cowboys logo on it in the third grade that I never took off. So you could say I'm pretty qualified.
Swagger don't stop. Josh, dude, any worries here with Dak? Is third grade.
Yeah, there are some worries for me personally. The shoulder injury really highlights them. I mean, he had a pretty freaking serious injury last year. We all saw it. I know it was early on the season, so hopefully we all hope and expect him to be recovered and ready for the season. But with this shoulder injury, with the past ankle and leg injury, I'm nervous for his rushing floor, to be specific. I mean, he's made kind of his fantasy career. He's scoring a decent amount of rushing touchdowns and everything. So before the shoulder injury, I was drafting him behind Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, then Dak Prescott. This shoulder injury is just making me just worried even more because I don't know how often he's going to run it. I might throw Aaron Rodgers and even Tom Brady ahead of him at this point, just to avoid that risk. Herbert, I think he has risk in his own right, so I think I would still go Dak there as long as we know he's healthy going into the season, but Dak has the weapons to succeed. If he's fully healthy and ready to go and confident, I think he's going to be great. But I'm nervous.
You guys ever tried to lick your own elbow?
JL, I just see you down there. I don't know if anyone else noticed. JL's down there just licking Dak's elbow on the screen.
He's having a blast. Time of his life over there.
Sorry, Josh.
Get me on that action. I want the bottom corner. I want to lick the next guy.
That's that hot spot. That's the funny bone.
Josh just licking the card on the side.
I can't reach the elbow.
I'm trying to reach
Maddie.
All right. Ekeler, Josh, your turn. You can get a little lick action while JL talks.
Hey, who's playing that?
This is getting real raunchy real fast.
What'd you expect? You invited us on.
Real late. You guys are probably sleep deprived. It's time to go. Hamstring, concussion, injuries after injuries, 10 games last year. We get a new coach this year. Are we getting all hot and bothered about Ekeler again, Simon? Or is this one of those you're kind of wait and see? Because this guy's getting older, and we're not sure we're going to get those receptions. Thoughts on Ekeler here, baby?
I am trying to temper what I'm about to say, but I am so high on Austin Ekeler going into this season that it's even scary to me. The furthest I can get him down in my rankings for PPR running backs in 2021 is 5. And he started at 3 whenever I was putting it together. But like the more I go through it, I've been pushing him down a little bit. He's an unreal running back. And whenever he wasn't injured, he was doing what he did in 2019. We saw it. Like I'm just looking at his game logs now. While he was healthy, he was performing at that elite level. And before the injury,
he's pretty good.
Before that injury at all, he was averaging like 19.9 points a game. In his 2019, he was averaging 19.3. I know the second half of the season was a little bit slower, but I think the offense is going to be even better this year. I think Herbert's going to take that step up, and I think with Austin Ekeler in the offense for the entire year, they're going to have some time to build that connection a bit more. Austin Ekeler, if he's playing, is a clear, locked and loaded RB1 with that top 5 upside. And like I said, I have him as my RB5 right now. That's where I have Austin Ekeler going in the next
Simon,
year.
do you have him over Mixon this year?
I do have him over Mixon.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hallelujah.
Now
Josh, hit me with some Ekeler truth.
Simon's not too far off. Locked and loaded RB1. I don't know if I can go quite that far. There's a lot of running backs that I still would take ahead of him, but I am drafting him as a top 12 running back. Don't get me wrong. As long as it's PPR league, Ekeler is going to have one hell of a season. Now, I don't think the team wants to give him 20 carries in any game, but Ekeler can still be a top 5 running back without a ton of carries. I think another year with Justin Herbert growing and the chemistry growing between the two, this offense is going to be so good. And Ekeler is just set up for so much success. And he's my good buddy. We hang out all the time, you know? So, I don't know. We're chilling.
Got to
Chilling.
Yeah. It's like one of those fat heads, remember?
He's so small compared to you.
I know. I'm a pretty big dude. You know, I work
massive,
out. No big deal. Yeah. I could be running back for the Chargers.
JL, send us home on Ekeler, baby.
I completely agree with my two friends here. The Chargers have improved their offensive line this offseason, which is only going to help. And that's about the only thing I really want to add on top of these guys, because I completely agree. I don't have him above Mixon, so I do disagree with Simon on that one. But locked in as an RB1 for sure, especially in PPR. If you're in PPR, let's go.
All right.
Don't live scared of the Ekeler injuries.
Let's go.
He's going to be a beast.
I love it. So let's give JL a second to catch his breath. Let's go back to Josh. We got Saquon. This has just become a game now. I can't even. Oh, what are you worried about? This is a guy the coach is saying isn't going to be ready week 1. From what we're hearing, it doesn't sound good. They're not ready to unleash the beast just yet. What are your thoughts on Saquon? This guy is still pretty dang young and just a stud in general. Fill me in on your worries of Barkley.
Oh, you want me to do this probably? Yeah. So look, you said my name, and I was just like, yeah, go ahead.
Yes, that is true. I am Josh.
That's definitely me. Some people call me Jeff, but look, generational talent gets thrown around too often, right? But Saquon Barkley is a generational talent at running back. Now, I know the team situation isn't great, and Saquon has an injury history himself now, but if Saquon can stay healthy, he will be, and I'm giving a Josh Fuster guarantee right here, he will be a top 5 running back this season. No doubt in my mind if he can stay healthy throughout the season. He's just way too good. He does everything well. Tell me something he doesn't do well in the football field. You can't.
Cook pasta?
I don't know that for sure. He might be great at cooking pasta on the football field. That's true. Listen, he's going to get a ton of dump off passes, and the receiving options will probably open up more room for him in the running game. I expect Saquon Barkley to have a fantastic bounce back season.
Simon, any concerns here?
Yeah, I am a bit concerned. We saw whenever he came back from his last injury, everyone was all hyped. I think it was 2 seasons ago, and he's coming back so much earlier than we expected, and it wasn't the same Saquon we saw. So the coaching staff expressing these concerns makes me think that might happen again. And then on top of that, he's on a not very good offense. Now, I know he found success in that offense before, but that doesn't help. Like if he was coming back into a Chiefs offense, I would be a lot more comfortable taking that risk on an injured Saquon than coming back into that Giants offense. I mean, but like Josh said, if he's starting, you're playing him. I'm just.
You guys have him over Henry this year?
Yeah.
No,
I do.
That's not as of right now. I do not. And part of the reason, Matt, you alluded to Mattydaddy is that he is a young player on a team that likely isn't going to be winning too much anyways. They don't want to rush him back onto the field. They have absolutely zero incentive to put a partially injured Saquon Barkley on the field. So it really extends the time that he could be gone from the field.
Absolutely. Shout out to Nate, Burner, Alex,
everybody
up? And anybody in the chats. Boo, 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 boo.
Yeah. I see Burner is in the chat. He keeps saying like Ekeler over Dobbins or Saquon over Dobbins. I think he's trying to get me like all hyped up or something because
he's trying to go.
Dobbins fan, let's go, J.K. Dobbins. But he's right. Both those guys over J.K. Dobbins.
Oh yes, clearly.
JL, so where are you at from Saquon? Is this going to be the guy that we've always thought was going to be just this beast, and just situationally it's just not going to work out because he's on the Giants and it's just such a shit show there?
Now the Giants were last in yards per touchdown, so I don't disagree with anything that Simon is saying, but I do think that Saquon is going to get his. He's coming off a tough injury, right? Torn ACL is tough to come back from, but it's not impossible. And Saquon has been unreal. Even while injured, it doesn't matter. He is still going to return that fantasy value. So I am not as concerned. I think that it might take a little bit for him to ramp up in just the beginning of the season, but that's not a big concern for me.
All right. Let's let the good times roll. Let's stay in New York, though. Let's talk a little. In New York.
Beautiful.
Dreams are made of.
We need to show. And you got
Golladay, man. Getting old. 4 years, $72 million. This guy is locked into the alpha receiver role in New York, but we have Daniel Jones. We might not have Saquon, What are we doing with Kenny Golladay? Proved he could be a wide receiver 1 just a year ago. Let's start it off with JL. Thoughts on Golladay? Because we're getting him pretty late from average draft position, everything like that. Is this a guy you're fading, or is this somebody you could see rebound?
I think his upside is limited. We talked about him a little bit on our show today with Heath Cummings. And I said earlier, Kenny Golladay got most of his fantasy points in Detroit from his red zone targets as well as his deep pass targets. And so I don't know that he's going to get those in New York. Those are the two things that I'm not certain of going into that New York offense, which has a lot of targets, has a lot of people doesn't have a lot of targets, has a lot of people, a lot of mouths to feed. And, Daniel Jones isn't necessarily known for that deep ball pass. And so I think we need to temper expectations, but I think he's a wide receiver too. He's a solid wide receiver too. And I'm fine getting him in that, that range of Adam Thielen, Juju Smith-Schuster, Julio Jones, that sort of that solid wide receiver part of your draft.
Absolutely. Simon, fill me in on Mr. Golladay.
I mean, I don't think anybody's calling into question Mr. Galladay's talent. Like he's an unbelievably talented receiver. It comes down to, can Daniel Jones support a wide receiver 1 there in New York? And I don't know if the answer is yes. So if you believe in Daniel Jones and Kenny Galladay's a steal, you should be grabbing him in your drafts. But if you think it's going to be maybe his last hurrah there as the starters for the Giants,
hurrah,
then leave Kenny Golladay for someone else to draft. Like I think Josh said it today on our show, Daniel Jones had 11 passing touchdowns last season, which is pretty abysmal. I don't expect that low this year, but if his fumbling issues continue, he starts looking the same. It's going to be trouble for a receiver like Kenny Golladay, who will likely depend on a lot of that touchdown upside for his production.
Now, Josh, before you get started, I have a question for you. We've heard most of you guys are pretty much on the same page.
Yes.
And you are the entertainer of the group.
Of course,
you sing to me.
I am offended. I am offended.
What do you want me to do?
I want you to sing a couple lines of "In New York."
In New York. I don't know the words. I'm not a good singer. You asked the wrong person. I'm not the actual entertainer. You got the information wrong. I just show up.
Stage fright. I get it. Okay.
I am not a good singer. But hey, listen up. I just did a YouTube short of Kenny Golladay. Check it out. You know what I'm saying? Like 2 weeks ago. Avoid him.
Josh is killing the game on YouTube. Definitely worth a follow. Worth checking out everything he does.
Front yard fantasy.
Is super talented. Exactly. Let's get it. Burner's saying the same thing, man. At throwing deep balls, I think, okay. I just don't like Daniel Jones. I think that's pretty much everybody's, decision. We're just not fans. We haven't seen it.
And Simon said it.
There are people,
Sorry, 11 touchdowns for Daniel Jones. Kenny Golladay had 11 receiving touchdowns in 2019. That was his best season, and I think he kind of needs those touchdowns in order to be successful. Something's got to give here, right? I don't know. I'm kind of avoiding Kenny Golladay at his draft position right now.
Yep, completely agree.
All right, let's keep it going.
Let's do it.
New Titan. We're talking about a guy who's put up stats galore. Up to last year, it was 1,300 yards, 80 catches every single year. And then injuries kind of poked their ugly head. So Julio Jones in this low-volume pass offense. Simon, fill me in. Are we expecting a high-end wide receiver 2, late wide receiver 1 out of Mr. Jones?
I'm expecting wide receiver 2. Like I won't even say high end, but that's about where I'm expecting. It could be with that upside of the high end wide receiver 2 is where I would put it. And you hit the nail on the head. He's going to that offense that is not pass heavy. There are going to be games where the passing game just disappears because that's what they want to do. And Julio Jones, I think, will be second in that team in targets. But that being said, I just want to throw some respect on Mr. Jones's name. He's one of the greatest wide receivers of all time and still one of the best wide receivers currently in the NFL. It's just he's not going to the perfect offense for him. And I said it on our stream earlier today, but we've been spoiled by wide receivers switching teams and finding that success immediately recently, like the likes of Stephon Diggs, DeAndre Hopkins. Doesn't always work that way. It's some recency bias, maybe, if you're thinking like, oh, new team, like he's going to upgrade. There's a very real chance he has trouble getting integrated in that offense, that it takes some time for him and Tannehill to develop that chemistry. I'm not expecting it too much. If you're going to develop chemistry with a player, it helps if they're Julio freaking Jones. But
Julio freaking Jones. But I expect some regression from what we're used to seeing from Julio, just due to the nature of that offense.
Does anybody see a spike in production from Julio?
A spike? No. I don't.
No.
Yeah, I think he'll get.
We all kind of think he has that wide receiver 2 ceiling, I'd say.
That sounds perfect.
I think that's right where he belongs. I think that he'll see fewer targets than he got in Atlanta, but his touchdowns might go up.
That's a good point.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's something to keep in mind also is, AJ Brown has been a little fragile. The knee injuries, things like that. Just something to kind of think of. Julio's not costing you much money either. He could end up asserting himself. Let's keep it going. Let's talk blonde tips. We've all been young. Wanted those white hair. Looking good. Looking right.
Zach Ertz.
He does look good.
Blonde tips all days. I just don't want to talk Zach Ertz. Can we just talk about blonde tips?
Dude, what? This guy flatline. Like,
yeah, and I don't think he's being.
What do we have here? Is this just? Yeah, there's nothing. Is this just a guy who put up 5 top 10 finishes in a row up to last year, and now we're just kind of. He's gone. He's gone forever, I guess. Does anybody feel like there's going to be a rebirth in Zach Ertz, whether he gets traded to the Colts or goes somewhere else? Could we see a renaissance man in Mr. Ertz?
Nope. I sure as hell don't think so.
Listen up, guys. There's a world. Like you said, if he gets traded to the Colts do have a tight end spot available there for fantasy. Carson Wentz, he was the guy that supported Zach Ertz having those top 5 fantasy tight end finishes in the past. So there is a world. Maybe, he gets fully healthy. Sure, I guess. I am not betting on it, though. Dallas Goedert is obviously taking over the number 1 tight end role in Philly. And I doubt he's going to be on Philly. I don't know what team he's going to be on. I don't know where he's going to be. So how can we expect that at this point? I'm not betting on it, but it's possible.
And with situations like this, like
so
you said it best. Oh, sorry.
Oh, it's the delay, baby. So Goddard only played 11 games, tight end 20. So are we kind of writing off Ertz too soon in this situation? Because they're not trading him. They're not just giving him away.
Well,
Simon,
my thing is,
keep going, baby.
They Goddard, like you said, he was tight end 20 off of 11 games. I know I said his name a little wrong there. But Zach Ertz still looked worse. You know what I mean? Whatever you want to say about what Goddard did last year, you got to trust your eyes. Zach Ertz didn't look like the player that had those 5 consecutive years of top 3 finishes or whatever it was that we said. It's not the same Zach Ertz anymore. I wouldn't expect a bounce back to that because we saw him on the field last year. He's a different player. He hit that cliff. He hit that wall. This is a different situation than got injured, came back, had a bad season. Like, he just looked like a different player on that field. And that's why I'm not able, no matter where he ends up, I can't buy into it.
Maybe the tips change him, though.
Maybe the tips change him. He finished inside the top 15 just once last year. Just one single time.
And
that offense was a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll pump the brakes on Mr. Ertz. How about another guy everybody's getting excited about? Tyler Higbee. New sexy toy in Matt Stafford. This is a guy who came off a tight end 8 just a year ago, and now he's getting reunited in this high volume offense, and you've got no Akers. So Simon, what are we doing with Mr. Higbee?
This is a player at the beginning of the offseason I was low on. I think probably because he just kicked me in the stomach last season. I had him on so many teams, and it was some of that personal bias bleeding in. But as the offseason has progressed, I'm getting more and more excited for what Higbee could be in that Matt Stafford-led offense. We saw Stafford support a tight end one last year in TJ Hawkinson in what is, like, I think I can safely say a much worse offense than this Rams offense should be. And he still supported a tight end one. Josh Reynolds is gone. Cam Akers is gone. Gerald Everett is gone. Like, those are a lot of targets. I know we can't just give them to someone else, but it's a lot of vacated targets. And I see this offense being even more pass heavy than it was last year. Higbee's going to be involved. He doesn't have to compete with anyone else at his position, and there's less competition for targets on the team as a whole. And we've seen him perform at a high level. I'm all aboard the Higbee train for this season.
JL, hit me with some Higbee here, baby.
I completely
Higbee, baby, one more time.
I can't.
So bad.
I can't.
Hey, no.
Apart from the terrible singing, I completely agree with Simon. I'm super excited for Higbee this year. With Everett gone, I do think that he's one of the better late round tight end targets. I'm taking him over Goddard. That's all I can say.
That's saying a lot.
Higbee, baby,
That
one more time.
Okay.
I give up.
Josh, what do you got for us? You got an encore?
I'm pretty much in line with my two fellow colleagues here. I like Higbee as a late round flyer, but I do not expect a fantastic season from the guy. I mean, I love the quarterback upgrade with Matthew Stafford, so there's certainly some upside. Can he be a top 10 tight end like he was in 2019?
Without a doubt.
Absolutely. No doubt in my mind. But is that going to help you win your fantasy league? I'm not so sure. We know what a top 10 tight end means. It doesn't mean much. Really got to be a top 5 tight end to really help separate yourself from that group of just bleh. I'm not reaching for the guy in fantasy drafts, but if he falls to me, then I'm happy to take him. I'm happy to take him, maybe pair him with another late round guy and see what happens.
All right, guys. We've talked the football. Now it's time to talk a little pleasure. Let's get the truck out of here.
Same thing for me.
Calm down, Simon.
Eminem and Lil Jon. Or not Lil Jon. Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
The John 3.
Okay.
Lil Jon.
All right.
You said Lil Jon. I'm
Little
staring
John's
at Lil Wayne's
always on
picture
my
like,
mind.
what is happening?
Little baby Lil Wayne over there by Josh. Josh is babysitting tonight. All right, Josh. Lil Wayne or Eminem? What puts you in the mood, baby?
Puts me in the mood. Eminem is a better artist, all in all. I mean, is it really a debate? I mean, in high school, I was a big Lil Wayne fan. Huge Lil Wayne fan. Huge. I loved him. Eminem's the man. I'll listen to Eminem all day. I don't remember the last time I heard a Lil Wayne song.
Okay. JL, what about you, baby? Are you lose yourself puking in the bathroom stalls before basketball practice? Are you, getting face tats with Lil Wayne? What's your style?
This is actually a pretty tough question. I think Eminem is a better lyricist. I think he's better at the craft itself. But Lil Wayne has a place in my heart, and I think I would take Lil Wayne over Eminem.
I guess it is a debate, boys.
I got one for Simon now. Simon.
Yeah.
Clemson's about to play. You're about to go stash that Little Caesars pizza in the bush. You're getting amped. What are you listening to, Lil Wayne or Eminem?
I'm telling you, it is not Lil Wayne's best song, but in high school, before wrestling matches, we would blast We Be Steady Mine
Lollipop
over the speakers as loud as we could.
It's a great song.
Room, and it would get us hyped up. And JL, I think Lil Wayne is one of the best lyricists of like modern rappers. Like that's his strength. I would put him up there with Eminem. Not all of his songs, like objectively wild. He is wildly clever. I don't think that's true. Like if you listen to like No Ceilings, like that is a wildly clever, like from beginning to end. I think he's an unreal lyricist. I have more fun listening to Lil Wayne, and I think I'm not going to say he's better than Eminem lyrically because that's like comparing someone to I don't know, but
this is
he's
why
up
people
there.
hate our brackets and tiers because of YouTube having takes like this crap. All right,
Give me Wheezy.
You guys are on the same football.
I was gonna
takes.
say
That's for sure.
I was about to say we're both agreeing on Lil Wayne here, but we just disagree on the fundamentals of the argument.
Yeah, I know.
All right, let's talk food. We're talking pregame food. You're about to go watch NFL Red Zone all day. What are we doing here? I know we're not eating bacon. Are we eating wings? Are we eating barbecue? Are we eating pizza? What is our go-to food here? Let's go with you first, JL. What's your style, man?
Neither of these. Unfortunately, I'm vegetarian.
He mentioned pizza. He
did mention pizza, but
like
is
he's
the
just
choice
playing
wings
with
or is the choice wings
No,
or what is
it's
that?
your
Pulled
favorite
pork?
food
Favorite food. Okay.
for a game day.
Wait,
Yeah, I guess.
yeah,
I
game
guess
day.
Pizza.
You're getting
I
in
guess,
the zone, baby.
I guess pizza is solid. I pretty much eat pizza or tacos. I love me some game day tacos. And not on game day, Josh. Shut your mouth. Not on game
Hopefully
day.
not.
JL's like,
God.
I'll have a 12-pack of wings, but hold the wings. Just send the celery, please.
Yes, I'll take the celery and the ranch.
Oh, there's pickles there too. Next.
Oh, I love me some pickles.
Josh, what's your food?
For game day, I'm a big dip guy. Give me any kind of dip.
Ooh,
Give me some chips, some
queso.
Queso, maybe some buffalo chicken dip. JL, don't even say anything. It's delicious. It's the best dip.
I used to love it. It used to be one of my favorite dips of all time.
But hell, give me freaking some salsa and some Tostitos. I'm gonna be a happy guy.
Tostitos.
Yeah, Tostitos. Tostitos. That's how we pronounce it over here in northern Baltimore County. So.
Northern Baltimore County.
Yeah.
Love it.
Oh, shit.
I do. If I had to choose between these two options, though, it'd be wings. Sorry.
No, never apologize. Simon, what's your game day food? Walk me through it, my man.
Game day food, man. Just looking at these two options, I want to address what's on the screen first. If you can guarantee me it's good barbecue, I'll take the barbecue over the wings 100% of the time. But even living down here in Texas, it is harder to find good barbecue than good wings. So 90% of the time, I'm just taking the wings and running because I know those wings are going to be at least good enough.
Exactly.
Whereas like bad barbecue,
get out of here, Dale. You don't even eat this stuff.
I'm not a huge like beef or pork guy, so it better be really good for me to eat it.
Did you say beaver?
Beef or pork? Beef or pork?
Oh, okay.
You've never had beef or pork?
Everybody loves them beef or pork.
So it's more often than not wings.
Simon, what do you mean that it's hard to find good barbecue in Texas?
God.
I've never found that to be.
You heard him.
No, I said even down here in Texas. Like saying like even in Texas, which is supposed to be the place where there's tons of good barbecue, there's a lot more not good barbecue than good barbecue. That probably gets accentuated when you leave Texas.
I see.
One of the only things that we're doing right down here.
Simon, have you had Blanco BBO?
Blanco barbecue.
Sounds Mexican.
Does that mean barbecue? I'm assuming. Yeah.
BBQ.
I've not had Blanco barbecue. I've had a bunch of very average barbecue down here in San Antonio. So if anyone has any recs, send it over.
What is Blanco BBQ? Like, is that? I know Blanco means white.
The restaurant here in San Antonio that I'm seeing.
Oh, okay. Sounds good.
Little white barbecue. All right, guys, one more. The Burbs. Let's talk. I do wrestling podcasts. Wrestling Matt podcast drops every week. Subscribe, leave a review, blah, 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 blah. Stone Cold or the Macho Man. Yeah. JL, I'm looking at you. I'm looking down, looking right. What do you got here, baby? You cracking beers with Stone Cold or are you freaking out with the Macho Man?
I guess I'm going Macho Man. I'm not much of a wrestling guy. I hope that doesn't get me thrown off the show. I'm going Macho Man.
Lies. All right, Simon, what do you got for me, man? Are you smashing beers, chugging them, or are you just being real crazy?
Yo, I did want to say I was never really like a wrestling follower. And then when I was in West Coast City a couple years back, we went to Friday Night Lucha. That's the only professional wrestling event I've ever been to. And it was the wildest, thing I've ever been to in my whole life. People were freaking out, throwing money, screaming. Like, it was just absolute mayhem, and it made me get it. I was like, okay, I get it now. Like, I totally get this. This is awesome. That being said, based on just the looks alone, we're going Macho Man over here. Sorry, Steve Austin.
What? Let's go, Josh. Send us home here, baby. Who's your go-to?
Yo, I was a wrestling fan growing up, and the answer here, and I think you might disagree, Maddie. I'm sorry. It is Stone Cold Steve Austin. I was always a big Stone Cold Steve Austin fan. Let's yeah, let's go. I had that beer can just sitting there, ready to go. Let's go. I Stone Cold Steve Austin. Let's drink some brews with Stone Cold. That's what I'm talking about,
dude. You guys are studs. Thank you for coming to my dojo, talking my talk, and walking my walk.
On my screen.
Oh, wiping off. That's an expensive camera.
I think I might have a concussion. No, I'm joking.
Concussion.
Yes. Front Yard Fantasy, man.
Oh Lord, did you take one from our first
episode
show
over there?
Oh dear Lord.
I could tell it's earlier.
10 months ago.
I look like a freaking Gollum.
Look at you. You guys
Josh
just
looks
look
exactly
like
the same. Josh is not changing. I think he's wearing the same shirt. Simon and I look totally different. Josh looks the same.
Hey,
dude, I've done it for a year, and you've killed it.
If it ain't broke,
I
don't fix
appreciate
it.
it. And I said at the beginning, Mattydaddy, but you were one of the first guests we ever had on the stream. And I'm thankful that you came on way back then with us, and it was an absolute blast. You've been back. We need to have you back on again sometime, man.
Yes, please.
And thank you so much for having us over here in your dojo. I've been waiting for it, and I'm hyped that we got to come over.
Dude, next time y'all come on, I'll have the premium package, a StreamYard. We'll have strobe lights going, makeup, everything. We're gonna be on point and in the zone, dude. But thank you for what you've done for this community. Thank you for what you've done for fantasy football. Just being good guys and just being on point every damn day. And you're fun. That's hard to find in this stressful environment. So thank you. And dude, Front Yard Fantasy, FanDuel, check them out. They're always there, and they're always kicking ass and taking names. Till next time. Josh, Simon, AL.
Woohoo!
Woo! What? Let's go.